The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of being and Levy's gone. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, it's what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. Unlike a proper investment, is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Nick out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Hope you're well. Smash like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all the good stuff. You know the drill by now. We're at that time again, aren't we? Every once in a while at this club, we need to go live and we need to talk. And normally it's an emergency podcast. Normally it's Code Red, DEFCON 1. But I can't be bothered. So I'm just going to keep it nice. It's Friday. It's evening. The weekend's coming up. So, guys, do yourselves a favor. Get yourselves a nice cup of tea or coffee. Pour yourself a glass of red wine or a cold beer. Get some peanuts, some crisps, some popcorns, or some cookies like me. A few cookies. In fact, let's have a cookie. Let's have a quick cookie. I'm going to dump it in the tea as well. There we go. Look at that. Tea and cookie. Who does that on a Friday night? Nice. We're going to have a chilled one, but we're going to have a serious conversation. That's a good cookie. Where did I get these from? Need to get more of these. Oh. So, why are we having an emergency stream that isn't an emergency stream on Friday night? I'll tell you why, people. I'll tell you why. You can disagree with my views on Ange as much as you like. That's fine. In the end, I'm going to be proven right on this. Okay? It's going to come round and people are going to say, do you know what? Actually, it's going to take time. But for now, you can all disagree. Why I'm doing this stream is because all I'm seeing across YouTube and across the fan base and all the regular YouTubers, Daniel Levy problem, Daniel Levy rant, Daniel Levy this, Daniel Levy that. Guys, I'm sorry, but we need to get real. Every single season we go through this, and there's a reason I've titled the show the way I have. Flip flop fans blaming Levy. Protest or shut up. Now, you might say, oh, that's a bit harsh. It's not. Let me lay down some facts here. For the last God knows how many years, and by the way, I went through all the YouTubers' channels to see whether or not they had made videos on this. And 90% of YouTubers, Spurs YouTubers, made a video on this one subject. We've got to win a trophy. We can't turn our noses up to trophies. We've got to get silverware. It's the most important thing. We finally win a trophy with a manager that, okay, we don't have to like him, but he's the only one that proved he could win a trophy under ENIC and Levy. Conte couldn't do it. Conte lost to Nottingham Forest when they were in the Championship in a cup game. Conte lost to Sheffield United in a cup game. Sheffield United got relegated. Pochettino lost to Genk, to Ghent, to Colchester United, and we got kicked out of cup competitions. Mourinho lost to Norwich in a cup game. Norwich got relegated. Mourinho was 2-0 up against Dinamo Kiev. We went away and we lost the tie, and their manager was in prison. These are easy games, so-called easy wins. Those managers lost those games. So when fans say, oh, but Ange had an easy group of games to win the Europa, but he won them. He won those games under ENIC and Levy. And let's have it right. Our transfer window since Poch was sacked has been shit. In fact, the last 2 years of Poch, Conte, Nuno, Mourinho, Jose, Ange, the transfer windows have been shit. Ange is the only manager who won a trophy under this awful regime. He found the way. So whether you like Ange or not, that's a fact. Okay? So why am I mentioning it? Because surely we should keep a manager who has proven they can win under this awful ownership and see what he can do with it. But so many fans wanted Ange out, get him out. He's rubbish. This team should be doing better. Okay, I don't actually disagree with the team that should be doing better, but we've got a trophy winner here. Ange is gone. In comes Frank. The one thing Daniel Levy wanted, the one thing he wanted from all you Spurs fans was to accept another manager being fired and a new manager coming in. What Levy didn't want is to sack a manager and for us to turn against Levy. That's Levy's worst nightmare. And he's got away with it every single time. He sacked Poch. Oh, it doesn't matter because we've got Mourinho. He's a winner. He sacks Mourinho. Oh, it doesn't matter because we've got Conte. He's modern. He's a modern winner. He sacks Conte. It's okay because we've got Ange. Ange plays attacking football. He sacks Ange and we do what we always do. It's okay because Frank is a coach. He can coach the players. Excuse, 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 excuse. And it opens the door for Daniel Wee Wee. Let's call him that. It gives Daniel Wee Wee the opportunity to get away with it again. He doesn't need to change the transfer policy. He doesn't need to change the salary ratio turnover to player salary. He doesn't need to change his behavior. He doesn't need to do anything because you, the fan, have allowed him to get away with it again. And every manager that comes to Spurs, They think they can do better. They think they can work magic. They think that they're going to be the one manager that does everything the right way and gets top 4, wins trophies, challenges on all fronts. Bollocks. Absolute bullshit. No manager under Daniel Levy and Enoch has ever finished top 6 and won a trophy. None of them. Not a single one. And Frank isn't going to change that. Not a chance in hell. Because a manager can only do so much. Great tactics, great formation, adapting in the game, making the right subs, managing injuries, developing players. There's only so much you can do, because at the end of the day, you're going to have to get it over the line. And the only way you get it over the line at Spurs under Levy and Enoch is 2 ways. Well, there's 3 ways. One is luck. Good luck trying to coach luck. Number 2, you sacrifice a competition or 2. Poch sacrificed the cups, tried to win the league. Ange sacrificed the league, he won the Europa. Or if you're not allowed to sacrifice things, because our fans, they'll lose their minds because league position is everything, even if we win a trophy. The third way, you need to buy quality players, proven talent that can win games, that can change games, and that can compete with Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle now. How do we compete with them at the top of the league and in the cup competitions at the same time if we don't sign quality? We've seen this throughout the history of Levy and Enoch. That's why no manager has ever got top 6 and has never won a trophy at the same time. So when you hear YouTubers saying, I'm greedy, I want it all, they're not greedy, they're in denial. They're misleading you. They're talking ass. It's not been done because the board won't supply the tools so that we can compete on all fronts. Fans that say that league position is everything, league position is nothing if you don't win it. The league position is nothing if you don't invest the money that you earn from being higher up in the league into quality players. How many times have we got top 4, qualified for the Champions League, and not invested that money to go to the next stage? How many times did Pochettino get top 4? And what did we do with that money? When Conte got top 4, what did we do with that money? When Redknapp got top 4, what did we do with that money? Ange Postecoglou has just qualified for the Champions League. Look at what we're doing with the money that we're going to get from being in the Champions League right now. Look what we're doing. Ben Davies re-signed. Matthias Tell, permanent deal. Random Japanese kid. Some 16-year-old called Oliver. Meanwhile, Embuemo, Eze, and all these other players that we're linked with, we're going to sign, they're all going to our rivals because we're not prepared to spend the big money. We're not prepared to pay the big salaries. Daniel Levy has pulled your pants down and injected you. He's literally pounded you into believing a new manager. That's what you want. No, you don't. Nobody cares if the transfers are poor. Mari, brother, I can see you in the background. Give me 5-10 minutes. I'll bring you on. Okay, I will bring you on, brother. Guys, this has got to stop at this club. I'm hearing YouTuber after YouTuber moaning and complaining about Levy. If you've got a problem with Levy, if you're fed up of Levy, grow a pair of bollocks and get to the protests. Start destabilizing the club as a fan base, not in a toxic, aggressive, violent way, but peacefully, organized, like Change for Tottenham have been organizing in the last 3-4 protests. Let's make some noise. Let's cause some media disturbance and let's ramp up the heat. We need to start staging walkouts live on TV. It's the only way it's going to change. You can go on YouTube, people, and rant all you like. You are not going to move the needle one bit. You can say protests don't work. Well, your method doesn't work. You can have a go at the protesters. You can call out those that have been saying Levy's got to go. But if you don't support it and if you don't get behind it, you are fueling keeping him here. Changing the manager wasn't going to change a damn thing. Frank might get a better tune out of this squad and we finish top 6. Who cares? AVB got top 6. Martin Yole got top 6. Who cares? We built a £1 billion stadium. Either we challenge for trophies and we invest in quality players, or you are allowing Daniel Levy to get away with murder. Well, not actual murder, but footballing murder yet again. This is why I was saying keep Ange. He's proven he can win a trophy under this ownership. He deserves a crack at it. But the reason Ange has been fired, people, and it's so clear now what's happened, it's not because he finished 17th, because they could have sacked him at any point. Ange and the board had a conversation in January. He told them, the league, we're in trouble. But if we win the Europa, and I think I can win the Europa, that's a trophy, which makes the fans happy, and you get top 4 Champions League. And the board agreed to it. That's why he wasn't sacked. It was a risk. I think it was a dangerous risk, but they pulled it off. Now we've sacked the guy that did it. We've brought in Frank, who's won nothing. When he was at Bromby, Bromby won nothing. Bromby won trophies in 2005, 2018, 2021. All the years Frank wasn't there. Frank was in the championship for 3-4 years. He didn't once win the championship. In fact, he didn't even come second. He had to go through the playoffs. And with Brentford, it's 9th, 17th, 12th. He's hovered at mid-table. I think he's a good coach. I think he's a good manager, but he's not a winner. The reason Frank's come in is because Ange told the board, I now need experienced players. And the board said, fuck off. Just like they told Conte to do one, because Conte said we need to sign 60, 70 million pound players to compete. No, Conte, we don't do that here. Mourinho is a checkbook manager. They weren't going to open the checkbook for him. Pochettino was crying out for some stardust to sprinkle on our team. Nah, see you later. The reason Frank's here is because this board doesn't want to invest at the higher level to back Ange. And Frank's come in because he's a coach and he's going to turn all our youngsters into Messi, Ronaldo and De Bruyne. And Frank's tactics are so great. All we need is a change of manager and the squad is fine. So all the fans that fought and championed for a change of manager, stop moaning about Levy. Stop complaining about the board. Let your manager, Frank, let him coach. Let him do his job. Because you told me that Frank's a top manager. Okay, you're the coach. Coach. But instead, everyone's panicking now. All the Frank lovers, all the Ange out brigade, they're all panicking on YouTube. Levy, buy some players. But why does Daniel Levy need to buy top players? For what? Frank's going to coach Solanke and Tell and Odebert. He's going to coach Pape Sarr and Bissouma. He's going to sort out the defence. He's going to fix the problems, guys. So why does Levy need to spend... Can't you see what's happening? Levy's not going to buy top quality players. We might get one as a panic move, like we did with Solanke and Richarlison, late on in the window. But for me, it's clear. Frank is here because he's another yes man, another puppet, just like Ange was a yes man and Ange was a puppet. He's come in to do as he's told and coach. So stop this Levy out rubbish. Stop this Levy ranting. And back the fact that you wanted a manager change. Let your manager manage. Let him do it. Let's see what he's got. I think Frank will do a good job. I think Frank will make us a top 6 side. I don't think he's going to win anything. And I don't think he's going to compete on all 4 fronts, because I don't think the squad can compete on all fronts. Just like I never believed Conte's squad could compete on all fronts, or Mourinho's squad, or Pochettino. I've never seen a Spurs squad under Levy and Enoch where we can compete on all 4 fronts. The year we got to the Champions League final, we just about got top 4. We didn't win a game for 13 away games under Poch. We had a terrible league season by our standards. And that showed that even he was struggling to compete on all 4 fronts, crashed out of all the domestic cups. So, fans, we need to have a reality check. Get real. When Levy tells you, I'm going to sack the manager, you should be going apeshit. You should be tearing the houses down and demanding Levy be sacked. But instead, we made the same mistake we always make. We said, yeah, that's okay. Change the manager, Daniel, and we'll be patient again. And Daniel's, yeah, you will. And here we are. Here we are again. You get the manager change and everyone's panicking now. Why are you panicking? You wanted a change of manager. You've got the manager. Calm. We can only judge the transfer window once it shuts, okay? Ideally, we want players now so they can join the pre-season, get to work under Frank as quickly as possible. So let's wait and see, right? We don't know what the transfer window is going to look like. Let's just hold up and wait and see. But judging by the signings we've made already, there's no big transfer window. We've seen the same pattern play out for the last 25 years. This is no different. By the way, cheers to everyone on a Friday night. This is no different to every other transfer window that you've ever seen at Spurs. Don't pretend this is any different. Ben Davies shouldn't be at the club anymore. He's signed. Matthias Tell has nowhere near shown anything to justify getting a full-time contract and us paying £35 million for him when that could have gone on a proven Premier League player with experience. This random kid from Japan, I've got no idea. He could be the next Toby Alderweireld. He could be the next Joe Rodon. I don't fucking know. But no one's excited by it. As for this kid Oliver, who's 16, he's 16. He's not going to win us a league title. So, guys, everyone gets their hearts set. We're going to sign Eze. We're going to sign Mbeumo. You haven't learned. You never learn. You never get it. None of you know. Am I the only one that really understands Daniel Levy? I knew this was going to happen. I knew this shit was going to go down. He will never change his way. It happens every single time. He comes out with a statement. We've got our Tottenham back. We're going to play entertaining football. Yeah? How did that work out for us? And now he's come out. We want to win the Premier League. We want to win the Champions League. Yeah? With the signings that you're making. Okay. It's all a con. It's a lie. It's manipulative. And the way he gets away with it, and I can't believe fans allowed him to get away with it again. You never learn your lesson, man. He sacked another manager and he brings in Frank. Okay. He'll be given 2 years from the fans as well. And the cycle continues. The only thing that will ever fix Tottenham is if Daniel Levy fucks off. If this chairman just pisses off. And to end my Friday night rant, a couple of weeks ago, we were on a live show and my chat got flooded. Did you hear what Lee McQueen said on Last Word on Spurs? Have you heard what Lee McQueen said? And I said, guys, stop listening to Lee McQueen. Why would I listen to him? He doesn't work for Spurs. He's not a director of Spurs. He doesn't coach at Spurs. Why am I going to listen to him? Because he's got sources. Oh, yeah. Everyone's got sources. The same sources that said we're going to sign Tony and Eze last year and Gallagher and all these players. Yeah, those same sources. He said Daniel Levy is going to be removed as chairman. Bollocks. I had Marlon from Spurs Kings TV typing away, telling me, Stel, listen to Lee. Listen to what he says. And Marlon, no, I'm not going to listen. No, I've been here before. Levy isn't going anywhere unless we force him out. He's not going anywhere. Either he sells up and leaves, but he's not going to be forced out. And I've got Lubo, the wonderful Lubin, on our channel telling me Charrington's come in, Vinay's come in, Joe Lewis is putting his people on the board. They're going to push Levy out. No, they're not. Did you see that video with Vinay and Levy? They're like best mates. They're like best buddies. Levy isn't going anywhere. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up now. Bring our American contributor to the channel, Mari, in just 1 second. People, by wanting Ange out, you have allowed Levy to buy more time, to seduce you, to finesse you. And now, in my opinion, we are going to have an average transfer window. Frank will get off to a good start. He'll do well, but eventually the wheels will come off because our squad is average. Some players will improve. Some can't be improved. And in general, when you look at the competition we're going to be up against, we're fucked if you want to compete on all four fronts. If Frank just focuses on the league or he just focuses on the FA Cup, he's got a chance. But fans don't want that. Fans want us to compete for everything. We've got to win trophies and finish top six. Deluded. If you're Levy out, then get to the protest or shut up. And I'm not going to hear these flip-flop fans who wanted the manager out now going after Levy. No, you wanted the manager out. Back your manager. You told me Frank can coach. Let him coach. I want to see Frank coach this squad now. Go and challenge for the league. Go and challenge for the FA Cup. Qualify out of the Champions League group. All in the same season because you're a coach. Coach. That's what I was told. Just like I was told Ange is going to play attacking football. Just like I was told Conte is a winner, etc., etc., etc. People, man. This is where we're at. Anyway, let's bring Mari in. Want to get my brother's opinion in case you think this is an echo chamber. Big up, brother.
Big up, big up. Oh, man. I feel like this is an emergency stream. Leo.
It's a Friday night chilled emergency. We're not going all in, but listen, Mari, man. I'm listening to YouTubers going after Levy, people calling out Levy, but Levy did what fans wanted. He changed the manager, and everyone said we needed a coach. Well, now we've got a coach. Let the coach coach. Why the hysteria? Why is everyone going crazy?
I think, and I agree with some of your points. You probably know some of the points I disagree with, but
Mari, go for it. Disagree whatever you want, man.
Yeah. The one thing I think I've said this before, and I even said this before the Europa League final. A leopard doesn't change his spots. And that's what we're dealing with. And I think Maz said it on, was it Maz that said it on Monday about the restaurant manager, right? You can change the chef, and the chef could do better than the last chef, but the owner of the restaurant still gets you, grade C, quality meat, and maybe this new chef, being Frank, does better with what, ingredients are put into the restaurant. But when it comes down to it, it's still the same restaurant. Yeah, the food might be better, but the restaurant's still crap. And so for me, there's two things in regards to, and I'm going to say this, it might offend a couple of people. If we had changed for Tottenham here on the show, I would have said, yes, continue on with the protests that you have at the games. But the most important protest should have happened, right? If you're upset, right? I was Ange out. But if you were Ange in and you were upset that Ange was fired, a week and a half later, there was a concert 3, I want to say, by Beyonce. Change for Tottenham. That would have been a perfect time to protest. You don't like what's going on with the club and how they do their transfer business. July 3rd, 50 Cent and Mary J. Blige. That concert's going to be packed. September comes around. August comes around. There's 2 NFL games. 2 NFL games going on. Perfect time to protest. These are events to fuck shit up, to rattle the cage, to get people sad and upset, right? The most important people, that is Daniel Levy, right? Promoters calls up, people who are involved with the event. Why are there 1,000? Don't even need 2,000. Why are there 1,000 protesters across the street from the stadium? Starting from there will put the fear in this guy.
Yeah, but Murray, hold on a second though. But fans wanted the manager gone, right? The manager's gone.
Yeah.
Fans said this squad is much better than what it is achieving. Just put a proper coach in, a proper manager, and everything will be better. So we've changed the manager. Why is everyone now losing their minds over the transfers and the lack of quality being signed so far, and seeing the so-called players we were going to sign now looking to go to other clubs? Why are fans panicking? We've got a coach now. Isn't the whole problem is Ange can't coach? Well, Frank can coach. Let him coach.
Yeah, I've said this the last 3 Monday shows. I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised. I set out. He was spot on, Mark. Why are you surprised? This transfer window is exactly like January, exactly like last summer, exactly like the previous. Like I said, a leopard doesn't change his spots, right? And so I'm not disappointed. As they go to, we weren't getting him. And Bremo, we weren't getting him. Semeno, no, we're not getting him. You got to look at the pattern, right? I was talking
about one week ago, a few days ago, we're linked to Mbeumo. He's rejected Man United. He's going to come to Spurs, and Eze. Spurs are into all. This is what we were told, and fans got excited. Like you see, Levy's changed, and
I know
that.
Yeah,
I know it's bullshit.
Yeah. For me, everybody knows I was Ange out. But don't get it twisted. It's business as usual when it comes to Spurs. It's business as usual. You got to look at this. One day I hear we have money for transfer. I see a report. We're second behind the Dallas Cowboys. This week, we don't have money. We don't have money.
We do have money. We spent £35 million of it on Mateus Tell.
Yeah, on Tell.
Yeah, but Frank has accepted that transfer. We blamed Ange for accepting transfers. Well, now Frank is accepting it.
Yeah, and I think the biggest fault, and this is where
Ange out. Complain.
This is the biggest fault. Yeah, and here's the biggest fault on Ange, and that's why it's kind of hard for me. I can see what you're saying, that Ange going to the board. Probably Conte did the same thing. We know Pops did. Hey, I want this player, and the club goes no. The problem for Ange is he said it. Levy got him to say it. There's not one player that goes through here, almost like a Denzel Washington. Like, not one player comes through here, mate, that I didn't approve. And so we have audio, we got clippings. So it's like Ange fucked himself by saying that. He should have just said, hey, the players coming in and whatsoever. Kind of like Frank is doing. I honestly think Frank is like, shit, I got to work with this guy. Damn, okay, this is going to be harder than my Mbeumo. Like I said on another stream, You know, I didn't really hear much about Ollie Watkins and Vissa and all these players. And kudos to Frank that he's worked with these guys. Is everybody going to turn to water to wine with Frank? I don't know. I do not know. I'm hoping. Tell is still 20 years old or whatsoever. But in regards to fucking themselves, Ange didn't do himself any favors by saying, "Not one play comes through that door that I'm not going to change." Not one. So he shot himself in the foot by saying that. So that's why, fair enough, everybody went off on Ange on approving this talent. Timo Werner, Tell, Archie Gray, and
Murray, but every manager does this. Every manager does this, and this is the problem. So, and we criticize the managers. Frank's come in. Conte, but Frank's come in. He's doing it. Everyone's too scared to call it out. Everyone is hiding because they thought by changing manager this wouldn't happen, and they're all being proven wrong one by one. And in the end, people are going to look back at what I said and say, "Do you know what? I kind of now see where Stell was going with that." And I'm seeing it happen again. Like I said, Murray, Frank could end up getting us top 4. He might even win a trophy. I don't know. I'm not writing him off.
Yeah.
But the patterns I'm seeing, there's no change.
Yeah, he's keeping. Yeah,
he's another puppet. He's another. Okay, Daniel. Okay, Joe Lewis. Okay, Vinay.
Yeah.
It's the same again.
And I will not disagree with you because the window is looking exactly the same as the last window, and the last window after that, and the window after that, and the window after that, and the window after that. That's why I'm not disappointed. I'm not surprised. All I'm doing is watching the Club World Cup, enjoying it, and then call me when the transfer window is closed. Because I've said this, I have zero expectations in regards to this transfer window. Because when it comes down to it, it starts with Daniel Levy, it ends with Daniel Levy. I mean, there's no ifs and buts about it. Anybody that thought, what I'm saying? I'm happy Frank has come in. He was my 3rd, 4th choice on the list. I wanted Glasner. I've said I wanted Glasner first. But, we got Frank. I feel that we will be better. I told you my predictions. 6 and no trophies. And I had with Ange, even with injuries, I said 10th, right? Because people say, "Oh, we're gonna get relegated again." No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Murray, in your opinion, is Thomas Frank going to win a Premier League title?
Today now? Oh, hell no.
Not ever at Spurs. Do you think he's going to win the Premier League at Spurs?
And Daniel Levy sell the team?
With Daniel Levy as chairman?
Daniel Levy? Yeah, never.
Right, okay. So what about the Champions League? Can Thomas Frank win the Champions League with Levy as chairman?
No.
Okay, so if Thomas Frank can't win the Champions League, can't win the Premier League, my third question is this. Why did we change the manager?
Couple of things.
For what?
Yeah, a couple of things. And like I said, I could be wrong about this. Number one, I'm going back on reports and history, right? We heard reports in December, January, February. The board is unhappy with Ange, especially because of the many home losses, which is one of the most home losses.
Big up, Charlie.
Big up.
Charlie, man, what's up,
Murray? What's going on? Big up.
Doing good. This is the most home losses that have come in. I know in the American coverage on Peacock, they've cut out to Daniel Levy, and he looks upset. So before the Europa League glory, not Andrew, Daniel Levy had that upset look, rightly so. He's gone to some of the road games, right? The whole cupping of the year, all these things have built up. I almost want to say that, Levy was feeling like Lubo, right? Lubo goes to the home games and the away games. He sees this, and it's like, this guy needs to be sacked. You know what I'm saying? So That's one thing. Another thing too. Don't get it twisted. Money.
So he sacked Ange because he cupped his ear at the fans, and because of
12 home losses. 12 home losses.
And the home losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why didn't he sack him in December or January or February then?
That's the $1 million question. But here's the thing.
Mari, but see, is that a question? Because
I'm going to get to that.
Ange told us why. Ange said that he spoke to the board in January, and the decision was made to focus on the Europa.
Yeah, and so I was going to get to that. That's my second point. Don't get it twisted. Money, right? They know they're losing money for the Premier League place and whatsoever, but there's still a get out of jail free card. That is the Europa League, right? You win it, you get to Champions League. That money, you get money. I don't know how much you get for winning the Europa League, but I want to say it's a good chunk, right? It's a good chunk of money.
It's not a lot of money, but if you get into the Champions League, you get minimum 80 million up to 150 million, depending if you go on and win it, which we won't. But if he gets out the group stage, chances are we're going to make close to 100 mil.
Yeah, and so
which is more than the 30 million pounds we lost by finishing 17th from 5th. By the way, just to let fans know, we're up minimum 50 million by winning the Europa. We're up.
That's true.
And he's financially.
So Edge did the greatest of favors, focusing on a tournament that I believe we all believed, right? You know, there was sometimes it's like, I can't see it, but as things passed, we're like, okay, we were the favorites, and things worked out. Like everything worked out, and boom. The thing is, right, and going from what Daniel said in a statement, if you want to believe it or not, it said that they did a thorough check of how the year went, and going into next season, how it's going to look. And so I want to say that they looked at the same questions. We're not going to win the Premier League. We're not going to win the Champions League. We have the 2 domestic cups, right? As of his tenure, he was 0 for 4. All right, he got to semifinals because Liverpool waxed us, right? We won at home, okay, 1-0. But we knew we were going to Anfield. They waxed us. Oh, this is a song, boom, and finished. So they looked at that, right? Kind of like how I looked at, not even including the injuries whatsoever, that next season, if we don't get to top 6 or top 7 for any European place, or top 4, right? We don't have an Europa League to fall back on. They feel like they don't have anything to fall back on. And for me, I looked at it as like, we don't have anything to fall back on coming in, because if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting us to win the domestic league.
Right. So Frank is here to get us top 6. Then that's what he's here for, to finish top 6.
I will agree with you. Yeah.
Right. We sacked Martin, Joel, and AVB for that.
Yeah. To get top 6. I agree.
So already Frank's on a hiding to nothing already.
Yeah. So because for me right now, if you ask me, right now, I think if Liverpool gets Isaac over the line, I'm putting money on them to win the quad, with Man City being the only team to kind of challenge them. So I think that's how they looked at it and said, okay, we can't bring him on. But despite making that move, it's business as usual. A leopard can't change the spots. Levy's always Levy, and how he's going to do with transfer markets and how he runs the club. Oh, Bidai come in. You saw the video. They were stroking each other's cock. That's a yes man.
It was a bit of a bromance. Definitely a bromance.
I mean, and so you laugh at that, and it's just like, this club is not serious. Now we don't have money. I do with the FFP Kings. I do it like, I've been saying since the first day I've streamed, like, this club has money. And matter of fact, the money if we really needed money to be influxed from tab stock. Like, so it is, yes, the manager change, right? Either you edge out or edge in, right? That's what I said. I was edge out, still edge out. You're edge in. But
So really, you just need to let your boy Frank coach them. Just let him coach the players. Let's see what he does.
just let him coach. But
Yeah, don't. So, but okay, you're the anomaly because most Spurs fans are having meltdowns about transfer window not looking so great. The players we are signing and the top players that we were apparently going to bring in who are going to other clubs.
I never believed it.
So you're a rare fan, Maury. You're a rare
I'm an
fan.
anomaly because I know Daniel Levy. I know Daniel Levy. Pep could be here. Levy is not changing his stuff.
All right, let's get Charlie. I've got one quick super chat to read. Oh my days. Chop Cheese 30 says, I'd inhale a fart like a bong rip to see a Champions League win. Mate, whatever makes you operate. Charlie, we're not getting Eze, we're not getting Mbuemo. We are signing Tells, Davies, random Japanese kids, and random 16-year-olds. This is what you wanted, right? This is why you wanted Ange out, yeah?
Well, first of all, big up to Stel, big up to Mari, big up to the chat. Thanks for letting me on. Yeah, look, I mean, it's been a while since I came on this show. Yeah, look, for me, one of the reasons I came on as well is because I'm just fucking fed up. Like, I'm just fed up. Like, I really am just fed up, and like, I have to get it out somewhere. Look, I said to you, Stel, that I wasn't Ange in or out. I was kind of on the fence, a bit boring, I know, kind of taking the more safe side of things. I said that I can understand the argument for him going, but I can also understand the argument for him staying. And I thought, whatever happens, there's valid reasons to both scenarios. What isn't valid and what is a massive issue is what you guys have talked about, which is the transfer window. Because I said that the Stell's come on my channel and stuff, and we've talked about it. I said that no matter who the manager is, unless we bring in players of a certain level and that can come in, unless we bring in like 3 or 4 starters this window, we're not going to get anywhere regardless. And that could be with Frank. And for those that don't know, I quite like Thomas Frank. I think him as a coach has great potential. Obviously yet to win anything. And I said, I don't think he's been in a situation to prove him up, but we'll see. We'll see. But for me, it just doesn't matter. And yeah, look, I see the comment here, Ilmatic, why are you fed up? I'm one of those people. I know you get those people that are like, the more it happens, the more numb to it, the more used to it. I'm one of those people that the more it happens, it annoys me more and it just pisses me off more. So
I'm numb. I'm numb
yeah.
to it.
Yeah, look, we're here. We're here again. I mean, what more is there to say? That, you know, I hate having to talk about this. I'm sure all of you guys hate having to talk about it because it's the same thing every year and it's the same rubbish that we're going into, and it just kind of saps the life out of you. You're supposed to be kind of like, you know, I guess interested for next season.
Charlie, let me ask a question, right? Let's say we keep up with what we're doing, signing kids, random players we've never heard of, and all this stuff, and then at some point we make a marquee signing, which is Semedo, right? That's the big one, Semedo. Okay. For you, would that have justified sacking a manager? Would that have made sense to you?
What signing one big player?
Well, Semedo isn't even a big player. Just like Solanke was our marquee signing, and
like
Richarlison was our marquee signing.
Exactly.
Yeah, expensive.
Yeah. Well, I think the way I see it is we probably would have done that regardless. If Andrew was here, if we're going to get one of those players, it probably would have happened regardless, because I guess clearly we know that, I mean, Mari said it, that Levy, him having the final say is a problem in itself. Him having a big say in the transfers is a problem. And I think that, you know, you're seeing the guys we get in, like, I think that Tell, would have probably been signed regardless. I don't know. You know, would one big signing justify sacking the manager? Like I said, with that, time will tell. But unless we get in a certain level of player, I guess it's going to be difficult to kind of know whether it was the right decision to get rid of Ange. Because even if Ange was here, he might struggle worse because I think Frank can get more out of our current squad. But even if with Frank, if we don't get certain players in, we're going to struggle regardless of who the manager is.
Even though Ange is the only manager to have won silverware under this transfer policy of Levy and Enoch. He's the only one that's done it. And I was saying at the start of my show, Poch lost to Genk, Ghent, Colchester in easy cup games. Conte lost to Nottingham Forest, who are in the Championship in a cup game. He also lost to, he couldn't beat Rennes in the Conference League. He also lost to Sheffield United, who got relegated, easy cup game. Mourinho lost to Dinamo Kiev with a 2-0 lead. He also lost to Norwich, who got relegated in a cup game. So managers that we've had in easy cup games flopped. Whereas if you look at Ange, look who's knocked him out of the cup. Liverpool, Aston Villa. He hasn't lost an easy cup game. Right? So if the only thing we're going to win is a cup, Ange has shown more pedigree than anyone else. The only one you might say, actually give him a bit of slack is Poch. Okay, we can give Poch a bit of slack because he did get to a Champions League final and he did get to semi-final. So I'll give Poch a bit of slack. But if we're going to continue with these crap transfers, shouldn't we just keep a manager that knows how to win with these crap transfers?
Well, that's what I said. That's the part. That's the argument I can understand for keeping Ange. The fact that under the constraints, he's proved that he can win something. Yes, that was having our worst ever league season, finishing 17th. He did prove it, and I think that is a valid argument to keep him, to be honest. But then the other side to it for me is that I don't think he's good enough in general. I don't think that he's a good enough manager that can, because think about it, next season he's not going to have the Europa. We're going to be talking about the cups where we pretty much have to hope for a good draw, and Premier League and Champions League, which I think is just
Ange got fifth in his first season, and he probably would have got top four if we all didn't support Man City to beat us. And I was one of those fans. I wanted Man City to beat us because I didn't want Arsenal to win the league. That's when he kind of flipped out. So in all fairness to him, he got fifth. He could have got fourth. So he has shown he can do it in the league, but when he's focused just on that. But that's the case for every manager, Charlie and Murray. No manager has got top six and done well in a trophy competition. No manager's ever done that at Spurs. Nobody.
The closest one, and you could blame once again. I'm gonna say Jose, and you could blame once again Daniel Levy. Is that from what I remembered when we got
Murray, we were seventh with Mourinho. We were seventh. We were seventh.
Okay. That
Poch had us fourth place in the Champions League final, so he came the closest.
Okay, so it's Poch. Okay.
Poch came the closest.
He finished fifth. He finished fifth and got to a Carabao Cup final as well.
So
I think.
when did we finish with?
That's when he first took over halfway through the season. Yeah.
What's his name? Mason. We finished because he took over the.
We finished seventh that season.
We finished seventh with Mason. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think Jose would. To be honest, I don't think Jose would have finished seventh. To be honest.
But again, you see, so Frank is going to have to do something no manager at Spurs ever done with arguably an average squad. Like if you look at the front three of Brentford, they're better than Tottenham. Brentford's front three is better than Tottenham. He's now going to inherit a worse front three. I don't think we're signing attackers, guys. I think Tell, Odebert, Johnson, Solanke, Richarlison. This is it, people. This is what we're going to go with.
If that's it, I don't even know what to say. I really don't know what to say.
I think it is. I think this is why he's been brought in, guys. He's been brought in to perform miracles. And Ange, I can just tell he's turned around to the board and said, look, we need to sign experience now. Right. Bye. See you later.
If that's what's happened, then fans have got to start doing stuff again, protesting all of this stuff. Like I was there with you.
And the thing is,
yeah, but fans wanted change in it. You know, it's the YouTubers that wanted change of manager. Now they need to stop moaning about transfers and back the manager they wanted.
And the thing is, I believe
It's flip-flop, man. It's flip-flop across YouTube right now. Call me a flip-flop all you want. The flip-flopping going on now. 1 minute, Frank's a great coach. Next minute, but we need to sign top players. But I thought Frank's a great coach, guys.
And no, the thing is, I believe there's going to be an improvement. There's going to be a change with the players from the youth and even to the front three, but it's not going to be good enough. The most
Murray, this manager has never had to deal with European football midweek. Never. This manager has never done well in the league and in domestic cups. Never.
Yeah.
Now he's going to come to Spurs. The pressure's on. The signings are crap. You got to do Champions League, Premier League, and domestic cups. I think we are. I'm not saying he can't do well, but I think we're in cuckoo land if we think this guy is going to do anything wow. I really think we're asking for a lot.
Still, it would be an accomplishment if we finish 6th. Because in reality,
I agree. I mean,
it says it all. It all says it all. If that's an accomplishment,
it should really be the mark.
That's glory. That's glory for our fans now. It's all about league position now. Apparently,
I'm saying
we're turning into Arsenal.
Newcastle and Villa will do a wobble.
Arsenal, but worse.
Yeah,
I just think Frank's come in to get us top 6. Fuck trophies. All this bullshit from the owner and Vinay that we're going to get. We want to win the Premier League, we want to win the Champions League. No, you don't. Your signings prove. You think Matthias Tell is the caliber of player so that we can beat PSG? You think, you think Ben Davies is the backup we need for when we go away to Real Madrid in the Champions League? You think that signing this random Japanese kid is how we're going to overcome Liverpool to the league title? What planet are we on?
I mean, still,
this team makes no sense too, and this is why I say it's a lot of
Frank's
bullshit.
going to coach them. He's going to coach everyone.
It's a lot of bullshit in regards to transfers because you look at this, right? We were linked, and I knew it would happen because it makes sense. Rios from
Palmeiras.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, he would be great. It would be cheap. We won't make that type of signing because we never do. You look at Leon, right? Leon is backroom. And Ashmatic will tell you, I think I've mentioned it to Stel, one of my favorite Argentinian players who City was looking at one time, did okay for Leon because he's on loan from Boca Fogo. Thiago Almada.
Oh, I like, good player.
Be cheap.
Murray, do you know
challenge James Madison? But we don't ever do that.
Murray, to answer your question, do you know why we don't do that? It's because our scouting team, I don't think they know other markets. I don't think they know enough markets. Because think about
it. Terrible.
Think about it. They've got Lange there. I don't know if Paratici's coming back or not. It looks like he will be, which is good in that sense. But you've got Lange there, who only knows the Scandinavian market. He only knows the English market. And just in general, us as a club, we don't have enough scouts. Just from what I know and what I can see from the outside, we don't have enough based on like who we're linked with and stuff. We don't have enough scouts that know the South American market, that know I guess the Asian market we do in that sense, but I don't know the African market or something. We don't have scouts that know these markets to go and get these sorts of players.
Guys, can I? Because I've got a bit of insight. I've got a bit of insight on this. Okay, we do have the scouts, maybe not to the level that Charlie wants us to, but we do have the scouts. We do. The issue we have is the criteria they have to operate in. It's like having one arm tied behind your back. So it's not like, here's 50 million, go and find a top striker. It's, here's 50 million, go and find a top striker who's under the age of 21 with the potential to be worth 100 million if we sell him, and the wages have to be £60,000 or below. You're basically asking for a 1 in a million find. You're basically asking, go find Harry Kane. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay, no problem. Yeah, we can do that.
You're right, Stowe, because I saw this the other day.
So this is the problem. And then when you have a crap football director as well, like Lange, adding to that, you're finished. Because they'll go and get you Werner, Tell, Odbert. Johnson. You know, they'll go and get these types of signings.
I saw this.
Solankis, you know.
Stop. I saw this the other day. That Nottingham Forest, Fogel, who is the Champions League winner of the Copa Libertadores, which is the Champions League for South America, signed their 3 best players, their front line. Nottingham Forest. And I'm thinking, why do we ever do that? Why do we ever do that? And then the one time we do sign in Argentinian, and I told him, yeah, he's okay. Belize, we're apparently sell him back to Racing Club. I still think he wasn't coached enough to maybe show some output, but it's the best move for him to go back to Argentina, go to Racing Club. But you look at this and you're like, Forest, they're doing it. And Forest, you can't tell me Forest can't afford to send scouts out to Brazil or to the United States to watch these players play. It's like, so that's what for me, I'm not surprised. I'm not disappointed because I have no expectations. That happened a long time ago, right? What killed me is when Conte got us top 4 Champions League. And that window, you guys remember that window?
Oh, yeah, I'll never forget that window for the wrong reason.
We can't back that. We will never, ever. I have to see it to believe it. That's the phase I'm in. And so anybody, either Ange was here or out, Frank come in, Glasner, for me, Levy does not change. The way the business is done is changed. If you're disappointed, I do not know why you will be disappointed because Levy spots don't change. It begins with him. It ends with him. And I'm not disappointed. I am not disappointed. I see people crying over Eze. I said this. It was not going to happen. It was not. We're not getting Bremo. It's not going to happen. It's the same script.
People honestly thought if we changed manager, it was all going to change. By the way, big up to Dropkick Teacher who says, in the Balkans, be it Greece, Serbia or Croatia, Levy would need security if he owned a club there.
Italy as well, I can tell you that for sure.
Italy, Albania. Channel your inner Greek style, make Levy scared. Dropkick Teacher, number 1. I go to all the protests. I do what I can legally, right? If we could do it the European way, we would, but we don't have ultras here. And number 2, it's difficult because in those countries, if managers kept getting sacked, all hell would break loose. Unfortunately, at Tottenham, we sack managers and we accept it. And like I was saying at the start of the show, when we sacked Poch, it's okay because Mourinho is a winner. When we sacked Mourinho, it's okay because Conte is a modern winner. When we sacked Conte, it's okay because Ange plays attacking football. Now we've sacked Ange, it's okay because Frank can coach. I don't know if anyone else has spotted this pattern, right? I don't know if I'm the only one that seems to spot this. Everything you're hearing from the club, from Frank, and the reason why Frank's going to be great, guys, I hear this shit every time. I hear this every time with every manager. And when it goes wrong, I hear every excuse as well. I hope Frank wins a trophy, and I hope Frank makes us brilliant. I really do. I hope he's our Poch, but better. But you ain't going to convince me that he's going to turn Tell into a top player. He's going to sort out Son. He's going to sort out half of this squad, and that this Japanese kid is going to be the next Toby Alderweireld. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't buy it. I've seen this too many times, man. I've been here. Conte couldn't fix it. Mourinho couldn't fix it. Poch did the best he could. They're good coaches. They're not bad coaches. They're winners as well. They're winners. Frank, he's not a winner. He's never proven it. I think he's just come in because he's got a reputation with the kids. All right. I've never seen a manager turn a whole load of kids into superstars. Maybe 1 or 2, but a squad full of them. Good luck. This is the Premier League. This is the Premier League. This is the creme de la creme. Good luck.
If you told,
I think it's a while back. It's a big reach.
You look at certain clubs and they have a philosophy. There is a Tottenham, right? Ajax. Whereas with Spurs, we change philosophy like the wind changes. So if you told me a couple of years ago, okay, that we are going to build a dynasty just through youth and everything whatsoever, then I would say, okay, you're telling us what type of team that we are. The problem is just that he said it out his mouth. We must win the Premier League. We we must win the Champions League. So
Mari,
you
Mari,
telling me, wait. You telling me that you have a win now philosophy, but the type of transfers that you're getting, and it's not really the best youth. I'm being really honest. It's not really the best youth, but then you're buying. That's what I said. Nursery FC, it's a mistaken identity. The problem is, and I say this club is it's the worst run football matters club, because still to this day we don't have a philosophy, we don't have an ethos, we don't have, like, it's confusing, right? If someone really studies this, what are we trying to build? So right now we have a Solanke, but yet we have uh, Archie Gray. So it's the philosophy of this club is terrible, you know. And yeah, it's still this the impossible dream. I want that to happen, but this dream is going to happen when Daniel Levy leaves. I still want to, yes, as much as I celebrate about the Europa League, for me, if we ever win the league, sometimes it's hard to Champions League or Premier League. I don't know. I think the Premier League will have me in tears, like literally have me batshit crazy.
either would be a phenomenal achievement.
Oh yeah,
I would go
Either
straight.
yeah.
would be winning the FA Cup would be bloody amazing.
Yeah, because you know what? Honestly, because we beat the English, we beat other English teams. You know, I like the Europa League trophy. I like the win, but to stick it to other teams in England to say,
To be fair, we stuck it to Man United in Europe. To be
Yeah.
fair, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
We did stick it.
I mean, certain other teams in North London have never won any European trophy.
you know,
So.
like it's
I
still.
wonder who Charlie's talking about.
But when it comes down to it, yo, Conte said this, Jose said this, Mr. Levy Club. Mr. Levy Club. They don't even address as Tottenham. It's Mr. Levy.
This is why changing the manager feeds Levy what he wanted. It buys him more time. He gets away with it again, and it covers up what he's done. And fans jump on it. This is why we needed to keep the previous manager, because then it would have put the real heat on Levy. The real smackdown would have had to come, because there's no way this window, a bad transfer window, would have been accepted. If And was manager, there's no fucking way fans would have accepted a shit window. Because Frank's come in, they're going to accept it. Give him a chance. Let's see what he does. He can coach. Levy is a master tactician at brainwashing this fan base. If I sack the manager and bring in another guy, then I can get away with another crap window. And this manager that comes in, he won't know any different. He won't know what it's really like here, but he'll learn, and he'll be gone in a few years' time, and then I'll get another idiot to come in.
You know what? I will say this.
Levy, I'm going to say it. Levy's played a blinder. Levy has played an absolute blinder.
I'll give you this because I just now thought about this. And like I said, I was depressed watching us play, and I'm still out. But the point of, and I will come to halfway on you on this, the Frank coaching is actually buying him time. You heard what I said, Stel? The coaching part is buying time and giving an excuse for these players, these crap players who are coming.
Yeah, that's what I just said, Mario. Yeah. That's basically what I said. Yeah,
I'll come to you on that. I'll come to you on. I'll shake your hand on that.
But this is what Levy always does. This is why the YouTubers now doing videos, Levy rants and Levy's a problem. Stop it. Stop it. If you don't know how Levy works yet, you shouldn't have a YouTube channel. In fact, it's insulting to YouTube Spurs fan channels for you to be ranting about Levy if you don't realize what he does. And you thought changing a manager would be a solution to this problem.
It gives an excuse to say, Joe Blow from Sunday League, hey, come sign with us because this guy can coach you. So, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on there. But, you know, for me, I am happy that we have someone tactical, but I can't say the word, that I'm excited that we won't be Body Blue FC every week, you know, and some of the players will get better. But I get your point in regards to transfers. Joe Blow from the street, now Sunday League, you come in because Frank is going to coach you. You know, and so it doesn't keep Levy honest. It doesn't put that pressure. It doesn't keep him honest and buys him that time. So I will agree with you on that.
If Frank was that good, he would have beaten Ange. 4 attempts, he didn't beat Ange once. Not once did he beat Ange. And people say, oh, but look at Frank's record against the top 6. Look at his record against this shitty Spurs team. He didn't beat Ange once. He lost 3 games and drew 1. This team this year, injury wrecked Tottenham, went to Brentford and beat them 2-0 this year. We all said, shit, we're in trouble. We're going to lose this. We beat them 2-0. You know, listen, like I said, boys and girls and everyone watching, I think Frank might do a half-decent job. I'm not writing him off. I just don't understand how anyone thinks anything's going to change with these transfer windows, with these transfers, which goes back to the point. It's got nothing to do with the manager. It's the chairman that needed to change. It's the chairman that needed to go. Charlie, what? Look, the window's not over yet. We don't know. We might get to the end of July and say, blimey, do you know what? That's not too bad. I'm feeling quite positive about this season. Do you think this? Mari's already laughing. Do you think that there might be a chance of us bringing in 2 or 3 actual good players that we say, you know what, I like this. You know, the kind of Mitomas, Paulinias, that level of player, not superstars, but players that we say, yeah, this works for me. I'm happy with that. Do you see that potentially happening, or are you? Nah, come on, still wake up.
I mean, just quickly, first of all, to all the Arsenal fans in the chat, enjoy winning nothing. Phase 10.
Second again, ole
yeah.
ole.
I mean,
Second
yes,
again,
you might have
ole.
you might have 1 European Cup, but we still have more. But yeah,
Bro,
anyway,
Arsenal don't exist in Europe.
it's
Europe doesn't even know Arsenal. They're not on any trophy. They're like,
I mean, all I can see is copium in the chat. But anyway, big up.
and Angie's more successful than Arteta. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they don't have the.
I'm just saying. Just saying. Yeah.
They don't have the conversation. But do I think that will happen? Honestly, especially, I thought originally, kind of towards the end of the season, I thought that, you know, maybe we'll get with Champions League, we'll probably get maybe 1. Kind of like, you know, we got Maddison and stuff that window. We brought Maddison in. I know Leicester got relegated, but I think Maddison was a player that I think everyone was aligned on getting. Plus the fact that we got Van der Ven, Vicario as well. I thought maybe at best we'd have a window like that. Which was, I would say, obviously still not perfect, but probably one of our better windows under the current ownership. But right now, I mean, look, I don't really believe rumors. I mean, the Eze stuff, like they're saying him going to Arsenal, I don't know if that's true either. Like, I have no idea. That could easily be made up. Eze coming to Spurs, that could have easily been made up as well, for all we know. But I just can't see it. I mean, with everything you guys have said, combined with kind of the leak. I mean, they're leaking the fact we have no money and all of this. Like, it just stinks of another kind of like last summer, to be honest. It's just really and I hate to say that because
every summer, Charlie. Every summer.
I hate to say it because it's bloody depressing. That's why it's depressing and it's annoying. But that's what I can probably see happening. And I know you said still the window's open for a long time and stuff, but for me, the players we bring in, they need a pre-season. They have to gel with the rest of the team and stuff. If we're going to bring them in when the season started, we're potentially losing 6 points, something like that, 6-7 points, maybe.
And the Super Cup, we've got the Super Cup early,
Super Cup
early
as well.
August.
The Super Cup. I mean, if we're going to have any kind of 1% chance against PSG, we're going to have to have the players we bring in ready for that game, and I just don't think we will. So, yeah, to answer your question, I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see it, and it really depresses me to say that, to be honest, because I hate being in the situation we are as a club. So there you go.
Maz, how much of this show have you caught? So I know what to bring you up to speed on.
A little bit when you were half an hour in.
Okay. All right.
A tiny bit. Then I went off and had a shower and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah. Rinse and repeat. All right. So basically, the reason I'm doing this stream is because I've spent all day in WhatsApp groups and on YouTube in the background listening, Levy this, Levy that, moaning Levy, and the people that are doing it, with the exception of We Are Tottenham TV, are the same fans that moaned that Ange has to go, Mange is the problem, bring in Frank can coach. So my issue is this. If you've got a problem with Levy, shut up and get to the protest. If you don't want to protest, then shut up, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't understand what it is you're trying to achieve. And if you don't,
I agree. That's
right?
What's been really frustrating me, to be honest
and,
with you.
And the other thing, Maz, to those fans, don't moan about transfers. Don't moan about what's not coming in. Don't moan that the players that you thought were going to come to Spurs are now going to Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Man United. I was told, I'm just going by what I was told, Frank can coach. Let him coach. Let him coach. Don't worry about transfers. But what I think is happening is they're now panicking because they've realised, actually, the team Andrew's got is shit. And no coach can turn it around in all competitions simultaneously. We need some proper players at this club, which then goes back to me asking, so why did you want a manager change then? It's the players that need to change.
I see. The thing is, still, right?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't want to get into an argument with you.
That's not an argument. Have your say. Have your say.
Right.
There's no argument.
Yes, but I gave him my viewpoint, and he fairly.
There's no argument. We all know I'm right. There's no argument.
I don't think the things that you're linking together with you wanting Ange to stay has anything to do with what's happening now, right? But I do agree with everything you have said, aside from that very last bit about Ange. People shouldn't be on one hand saying before we won the cup, I'm Levy out, Levy this, Levy that. As soon as you win the club, Levy done exactly what you want, shut everyone up, he's learned, this is a massive season for us now, which I agree with. It is a massive season for us, but not anymore.
We say that every year, don't we? We say that every year.
All the excuses under the sun, I can't remember them all. I wrote them all in our WhatsApp when I vented earlier. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And it all stems down to what we've been saying for many, many years. There's a whole reason why the Levy out protest movement, whatever it is, whatever it's turned into now, right, is never going to go away. The noise is never going to die down because of the way... Up in there. All right. Because of the way that Levy runs the club and the way we do the transfers. And I've really tried after our win of the Europa, and I was very happy about that, to not coming negative. I've really, really tried. And I sort of am a little bit disappointed with myself because that gut feeling that I had, the same old shit's going to happen again, and I should just go in all guns steaming into the negative mode about Frank, the board, what's going to happen at the club. I should have just stuck with what I felt in my gut and said that from the beginning. And I'm absolutely raging, to be honest with you. No, what am I raging? I'm just so.
Are you prepared to wait to the end of July to see what happens with the transfers, or are you looking at the initial pattern?
No, because I said So, and you know what I don't necessarily say everything I say in our WhatsApp group on here, but it's Werner 3.0. We signed effing Tell. For me, he's no better than Werner. He's a new generation symptom of what Werner was when Ange signed him.
Generational Werner.
Yeah, he's a generational Werner. Honestly, right? He's.
Oh,
I might call him that now from now on.
Generational Werner.
Yeah, he's. He's
We need to copyright that.
and not only that, to compound Tell, and I know that Davies was signed a new contract probably before we signed Tell, but that to compound it, Davies is still at the damn club. The guy doesn't know when to leave.
Yeah.
Like Davies should be like, right, I've
we don't
served
let
my
him leave.
time.
But Maz, we don't let him leave. We don't let him leave.
Yeah, and I tell you something. If I was Son, if Son doesn't leave, I think Son's part of the bloody problem. Or he's in that Shawshank Redemption, as he's institutionalized. He wants to go, wants to stay in the prison. He doesn't want to leave it. At the risk of repeating everything again, Frank, by accepting Tell, has signaled to me that he is a yes man, just like Ange was. What I loved about Jose, Poch near the end, and Conte, more so Conte, was the fact that they stuck to their principles. We know that Poch, had a good 2, 3, 4 years, so there was no reason for him to really rock the boat and upset the apple cart. But he did do that in his own way. He gave us clues. You can see it when he never had players signed for 2 seasons that he was getting a bit pissed off with that, because you could see that we were on the cusp of absolute greatness. And it all fell apart near the end. And I guess he left, or he got sacked for the right reasons, in a sense, because Levy made it impossible for him to continue. Jose comes in. We saw the real Levy when Levy sacked Jose before that cup final. Why is Daniel Levy really happy about winning the Europa Cup, but he wouldn't have been happy about winning the Carling Cup? Any chairman should be happy about winning any trophy that glorifies the club, right? So, and then what makes it even worse is he sacks Jose. The whole club's in disarray. We bring in Nuno. That was a disaster. He was the wrong man for the club. I don't think he's a bad manager. Well, I don't like Nuno. So I'm not going to lie. I don't like him, but his form currently would suggest that he's a decent manager. But Conte for me was like the last gasp, or the last straw, the last hope for Tottenham, and he did leave us with that gift near the end that will forever live on in our memories, I think, because he surmised exactly what Tottenham Hotspur is. And the anomaly is Ange, because he's a shit manager, but he managed to win a cup. You see, but look where that's got us still. He's left us with one of the worst squads, and I stand by this, that I've ever seen at Spurs. Ange built this, or Levy, Ange and Lange and Flange and Gange and.
But you could say Conte left us with a shit squad. Jose left us with a shit squad.
But Conte, you could see that Conte didn't accept it. He was pissed off from the second season.
Maz, Conte's the only one. Conte's the only one. Yeah. In fairness, the rest, even Jose accepted it. I just feel...
I do agree with that. I do agree with you. In our world,
because he's cryptid. In
our world, I don't even think Jose was even here long enough for him to his Trusov to even come out. See, you know what he's like.
You know what? Don't you think it's a catch-22 though, right? If you start throwing players under a bus or blow it up in the press conferences, you're pretty much gone. That's why Jose wasn't allowed the cup final. That's why Conte was done.
Yeah.
If you play the game and you don't open your mouth and you basically act like a yes man, you get more time. I think if Ange spoke out, he would have been gone. Because he shut his mouth, they gave him up to the Europa Cup final. I think if Jose played the game, he would have got the cup final, but Jose couldn't handle it. Jose was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm not used to this. And do you know what I find interesting? And do you know why? I know we're in trouble. Any manager that comes to this club, they never seem to bring the talent that they've coached before, yet other managers do, right? Wherever Redknapp goes, he seems to take Defoe. Wherever, even Arteta, he's tapped into the Spanish market for players. You look at us. Poch comes, he can't get Mane from Southampton. Mourinho comes, he doesn't sign any of his ex-players. Conte comes, we don't sign any Italian players.
Well, you got Perisic, but that's a weak example.
Air washed out.
Free,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, but not any Italian talent that he knows.
Yeah, you're right.
Ange comes, right. Not one Asian unknown superstar.
Well, not one Celtic, Kyogo or
right
midfielder. What's his name?
Frank comes, and all we're saying is Mbuemo. It's gone Man United.
Well, the midfielder.
How does this happen?
The ultimate kick in the teeth. The ultimate kick in the teeth. And now I'm back in my Ange. You might as well just replace Ange's face with Frank for all I care.
Nodegaard.
Right, and look, I'm not going to write Frank. I've got to be careful because I don't want to write.
No, we'll give him a chance.
It's not his fault. Yeah, it's not his fault. You've got to give him a chance, right?
We will give him a chance.
But losing out to him, like you said, to Mbuemo to Man United. Now Eze's going to that Tin Pot club down the road, right? That always finishes second, doesn't win nothing. It's the ultimate kick in the teeth to the fans because the fans were expecting us to be like, right, we've somehow made this a successful season. Let's fix this now and move on and let's rebuild or add to whatever Ange built or whatever. And all it needed was 3 quality players. That's all we needed. We didn't need 5 players. We didn't need 6. We didn't need 8. We didn't need 9. We just needed 3, right? We needed a number 6, a forward, and a left or right winger, whatever. Take your pick on the other position. That's all we needed. And it would have been a big improvement to the team. But what have we done? We signed generational Werner, right? Ben Davies for the 18th time, right? I reckon he's gonna be here until he's about 103. And okay, fine. We re-signed Danzo or whatever, and I guess that's decent. But it's awful.
Nodegaard went to Arsenal. Who played for Brentford? He went to Arsenal.
I think,
and then we get fed all these lies. We get fed all of these lies.
Oh yeah, but I don't believe any of it.
Laws,
I never get sucked in by it.
Golds, all this stuff.
Nobody's called out journalists the way I do. I've warned everyone about these journalists. I've warned everyone. I keep warning you guys. Charlie, go on. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, do you know what the biggest issue is? Is that if you think about it, right, we can all identify what positions we need to address and improve on in the window. And you see, and that's the same for every team. You can see what positions they need to get them right. The biggest issue is that think about it, right? We need a 6, we need a winger, we need these sorts of players, right? The fact that there's a chance, we don't, not even just like a cheaper player. The fact that there's a chance we don't get any player in that position, that should be an instant red flag. Because if you look at the transfer policy, I genuinely think there's a scenario right now where Levy or whoever it is sitting there and doing nothing, because their policy for years has been kind of wait for the call from the agents to say this player is available, this is opportunity. It's very opportunistic, right? And mostly that will apply to kids, kind of younger players and stuff on low wages. And that's why I think a lot of our players don't come in until the end of the window, because they're just sitting around waiting for calls. There's no actual policy. There's no actual strategy to go out and get a player out of their club. It's what's going to be offered to us that fits the profile and the wage structure. And that as a consequence of that means there is a chance that we don't get anybody in the 6, for example, or we don't get anybody in the forward line, for example. It could be any position. For all we know, I mean, the centre back we just signed, from Japan, for all we know, he could be a good player. We don't know. Again, it's a punt. But did we really need a centre back? I mean, we got Vuskovic, who looks really good, to be honest. Vuskovic. We've got loads of centre backs. We've got like 7 centre backs. Did we really need another centre back? But we've got this guy who, like I said, might be a good player. But we've got him because clearly it was opportunistic. If
Charlie, never spent, in fact, let me read the super chat quickly and then I'll ask you. Big up to Chopper Cheese 30 again, who says, we are not an attractive club. Best stadium in Europe, best facilities, best training ground, located in London, one of the best cities, but low wages and a shit team. They need to improve the product on the pitch. Lean it out, brother. I think you'll find we agree with you about that. And Della Spurs, how you doing, bro? Devils Av.
Can I answer that?
Let me read it out. Let me read it out. Answer it, but then I want to go back to Charlie. In fact, no, let me ask Charlie, then I'll come. In fact, let me ask Charlie this, then we'll do this. Then we'll come back to this because you want to answer it. Charlie, if we didn't spend 35 million on Tel and we didn't spend 5 million on this Japanese guy, and that money together, 40 million, we went and bought a number 6 that we said, oh, that's a proven player. Do you think the conversation suddenly changes quite a lot?
I think it probably does. I mean, if you look at the way kind of fans are reacting online or wherever it is, yeah, I think it would change it. If we got, like you said, a 6, if it was a proven player that we know is good, I think, look, a lot of fans, I hear kind of phrases like, oh, we have to Google kind of the Danny Rose thing. I think sometimes I don't really...
we do.
I know, but sometimes I don't really kind of agree with that like analogy, because I think a lot of our fans just need to watch more football to kind of understand and know about, be aware of more players and stuff. But yeah, if we got somebody that the whole fan base universally agreed on and said, yeah, this guy will improve us, then yeah, I think it would be different, 100%. I mean, Mari mentioned like Rios earlier. I don't think loads of fans, from what I've seen and stuff, have heard of him. But I think he would be a great signing, for example.
You know, I do think that Danny Rose had a point.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Because especially now when we talk about it, it's like we're signing players, we've got no idea who they are. And inevitably they end up being shit. Clinton NGs and Kudus and, you know, Danjumas and all that.
That's the problem. We're not looking hard enough for the kind of these players that can come in.
Now, if we had a history of buying unknown players and they turn out to be good, like a bit like Brighton's and Brentford's and stuff like that, then you can forgive it. But we don't. So when we do sign a player we've never heard of, we do have to Google it, and inevitably they end up being rubbish. And to your point, Charlie, we sign that one decent player that we've heard of. It does change the whole outlook towards Spurs, and I think it would change the players' outlook who are joining. Like, let's say we signed Zubimendi instead of Arsenal. You're telling me that Maddison or Bergvall wouldn't be like, yeah, okay, I can get on board with that.
Or Paulinia or Mitoma or Mbeumo.
And that's the point, isn't it? And winning the Europa should have been the springboard once again for us to forget the past and move forward, right? And all it's done is it's just enhanced the worst aspects of how Levy runs the club even more. Because I think what's happened is he's thought, you know what, we won something with a really low budget. Let's do it again.
He's using it. Yeah, he's using it, isn't he? He's using it as like ammunition.
Going to the last super chat. Also think too.
Mari, let me read out the super chat. Let me read it out. So Della Spurs, thank you very much. He says, Devil's advocate. Fans like and accept young and under 25 talent. We won the Europa Cup with a really young squad. Frank can work with these younger players. The board may believe this is the Tottenham way we wanted.
Okay, so I'll hit both.
How many youngsters start in the final? How many youngsters start in the final?
Yeah.
Pape Sarr, that's it. And Johnson.
Yeah.
Sarr and Johnson.
Bergvall didn't play. He was injured.
Richarlison, Solanke, Johnson.
Yeah.
It was Bissouma, Benton Corsar, Udogie. Yeah, only 2 youngsters started in the final.
Yeah. I would say this in regards to the last two.
Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I'm sure it was 2.
To the last 2 super chats, you know, I agree with Chopped Cheese, which is weird because Poch actually did some groundwork in making us somewhat attractive, but we have gone so backward. You look at some of the comments of these players that reject us, and it because these players, they're not dumb. Their agents are not dumb. They see how things are around, and they're just like, they know this is Mr. Levy Club. And so I think a lot of it too, unless you convince with wages, some of these players are just like, Spurs, really? You know,
Yeah,
so I mean, so I do believe part of it, because now more than ever with social media and stuff like that, players know now of other teams and how they run things. And it's not saying that we can't get some good quality. I'm just saying that we have to do a harder sell, and we have to.
Mari, players talk, managers talk. The football community is not that big. Even when I was in youth football, everyone knew each other. The coaches, the clubs, the pro academy directors, the scouts. In the pro game, it's even smaller. They all know each other. The agents, the managers, they're all friends.
And it's the thing, right?
Let me just finish. And then to add to the fact that we don't give wages, respectful wages.
Yeah, we don't pay wages. We don't pay
So
wages.
it makes it extremely hard. So it's like a double-edged sword, because at least if we would give it respectful wages, then we could get some people coming in.
Mari, I think the scenario we're in is almost no different to any other person like us as individuals and companies that we get employed by or work for in your life. It's like you're a young lad, you're sending your CV out to loads of different companies, right? And two big companies call you in for an interview, and you do well in the interview. And one big company says, okay, we'll offer you, I don't know, $20,000. And the other big company says, we'll offer you $80,000. You're instantly going to know that other company that offered you $80,000 is serious about the staff they're recruiting, the talent, etc., etc. Whereas the other big company that's offering you $20,000 probably treats the staff like shit, and they don't pay them enough. Right? And a quick Google search to do a Danny Rose on them will probably find a whole bunch of people online moaning about how crap they are as a company. And it's like that at Spurs, isn't it? Players know that whilst it might be a step up in comparison to other clubs in their respective economies, for Spurs, we pay shit wages for the size of club we are, and therefore we have that reputation.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think now it's endemic. It's like endemic or epidemic. It's like an epidemic at the club where even players that aren't even at Spurs, that have no intention of joining Spurs, like that Collini chap, knows about Spurs and how we're run, and we're a running joke of Europe. Okay, now we've won something, so I guess that's going to go away for a little bit, but we're still going to be a running joke, because what will happen is we'll just be rubbish next season or mid-table, and we'll just be the butt of the jokes again. Honestly, it's just like, where do we go with this? Where do we go?
And repeat. Big up to the Two Mark Show channel member for 4 months. Look, this isn't a late night long show. It was just a quick rant because I just wanted to talk about how I can't believe everyone's now going after Levy when, half of them don't even go to protests, or they say that Levy out doesn't work. And also, I was told Frank can coach. I just let him coach. Let him coach. Or maybe, just maybe, the issue, not just for Ange or Frank, but every manager at Spurs, is this ownership. And again, I was told Levy's going to be forced to step down by the changes of Charrington and Vinay. I think it's made Levy even stronger.
Oh, man, that's a joke.
Now he's grown a pair of balls and he's saying things like we're going to win a Champions League and Premier League. I think he's in fact, do you know what? I actually think Levy's now lost the plot. Do you know that? I actually think he's got carried away with this Europa Cup and he's lost the fucking plot.
It's time to go. It's another sign that it's time to go.
Imagine just like what club in football history has ever had a chairman say, I want more. I want the Champions League and the Premier League, and the first 4 signings off the back of that are Ben Davies, Tell, random Japanese bloke, and 16-year-old Oliver.
I think still, do you know the most?
Do you remember when Man City's new owners first come in, the Sheikhs, and they said, we want to win the Premier League, and they signed Robinho.
Matt says it all.
They signed Robinho.
We beat United. They signed Cunha and Buemo, and if it's true, they're trying to reportedly hijack a Goikis. Like you can't make things up. They're the team who's doom and gloom, who lost the Europa. They're signing players for Amarin, who people have turned on, and they're like, no, we're gonna back Amarin fairly because he came in the middle of the season, and it's you can't make things up. You can't make it up. Big up, Matt. But this is true. This is true. United board has.
The issue we're going to have is why would that Romero's certainly going to go, but why would Maddison? Why would Maddison want to now stay? If I was him, I'd be thinking, where can I go now?
Because we've got Champions League football, man. Whilst we've got Champions League football, I think a lot of them will be like, do you know what? I fancy a bit of that, and they'll just.
Yeah, I guess some of them haven't played there.
I say this. Because I've heard it on numerous channels. People can believe me or not believe me. I'm telling you, when I went to Argentina in March, I got a chance to talk to a TYC on one of the excursions I went to.
It's a TYC, Murray.
TYC is the Sky Sports ESPN of Argentina.
All right, okay.
When they do an interview, you take it like gospel. One example, when Julian Alvarez did his interview, I said, guys, for Man City, Julian Alvarez, yes, he's winning trophies.
What did they tell you? What did they tell you?
Oh, I didn't say it before. Oh, they said Romero wants to leave. He feels that he's too good for the club. This was in March.
Well, he is. He
feels he's too good for the club.
He
wants to leave. So when the reports were saying, "Oh, if they get rid of Ange, he wants to leave," I'm like, "No, he's always wanted to leave," and that's why. And I believe the reports. Simeone is on his ringing them every day, trying to force this thing. Daniel Levy, to his credit, is like, "No, I'm not selling less than 70. I think was the number. No, I'm not selling for less than whatsoever." But he wants that move. I mean, I love Romero. I feel that he needs to go because he doesn't want to stay. Despite winning Europa, he wants to leave. I mean, I spoke to people over there because they're like, "Oh, which club do you support?" Spurs. We talk about, Ardiles. We're talking about, team football. And I just asked the question. And I'm like, Romero, oh, he's leaving. I was like, really? I said, yeah.
It's probably why we signed this Japanese.
We did an interview about the medical team. And Romero twice talked about the medical team. He did not lie. Remember, when Conte was the coach,
when does Romero's contract come to an end?
Still, it's 2 years. I was gonna say, I actually don't think he's leaving this summer.
Because Levy's not gonna let him leave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he wants to leave.
I was gonna say, right, that I think, first of all, I agree with Mari. I agree with everything you say about Romero. I think he's massively underrated, but I don't think he's leaving. He probably wants to go, but he won't because Levy will imprison him. He always imprisons players.
He's not gonna let him go for under that price.
I don't think he's leaving. I think he's staying.
Yeah, but he wants to leave. But he long time ago he wanted to leave.
But he'll stay another season. You have 1 year left on his contract. Then Levy will lose out on selling him like he does.
Go for 20 million.
Yeah, and he'll just be because he always wants to hold on to the place to try and make a point, but he doesn't realise that sometimes you just got to cut your losses and move on and buy another good player.
Well, Maz, think about it, right? Look at how many players we lost on freeze, and we kept loaning out. We kept loaning out Ndombele. We kept loaning out Region and stuff. The reason we kept loaning these players out is because we didn't want to take a loss on them. We hoped that they would go on loan and kind of play well and increase the value, so then we could sell them and get our money back on them.
Yeah.
As a club, what I've noticed is that we really don't want to take a loss on players, even if that player has really massively declined in value and has got worse and stuff. We still don't want to do it at all costs. We'd rather loan them out, risk losing them on a free than just selling them while we can just get some money for them. Just to get
and we've got decades of just making the wrong decisions and losing out on talent and selling players at the right price, don't we? It's just awful. I do want to say as well, and another lie that we were sold by the media and TalkSport and some YouTubers. Oh yeah, FFP Kings, PSR Kings. You know, Daniel Levy was like, yeah, I'm setting us up for the changes coming in the 24-26 season, PSR, yeah, all that sort of crap that he was going on about. And now, don't mean anything. They're all breaking the rules. They're all selling, buying from their own companies. Everyone's got around it. You know, and one second. And all it is, right, is they've got clever businessmen, clever accountants in their clubs, clever lawyers looking at like all big companies do, right? And they look at the regulation and say, right, how can we get around this? What is the best thing to do, right? Not Spurs, not Daniel Levy. He thinks he's the cleverest one, and he's gonna, you know, he's pumping out this propaganda into the media about how we're this amazingly well-run club and was financially sustainable, yada yada yada. And we're broke.
I have no sympathy with our fan base on this. By the way, very quickly, Daniel, he says, good little chat on this warm, breezy night. Thank you, Daniel. You're part of the chat as well. Chop Cheese says, Maz got the point for our size, the wages we offer. Is that a question? Maz got the point. I got the point.
I think it's a statement. Yeah.
Okay. See, when Levy put out that statement, we are best positioned to benefit from the new rules of FFP and PSR coming in. We'll be in such a powerful position. And then about 6 months later, there was a January window, and we were the only club that managed to do business, and the rest of the clubs couldn't. And everyone was saying, you see, how you got to be patient, and Levy's played a blinder and this and that. And I remember this. And I said on this channel, and I put it in the comments as well, I said, guys, are you that gullible? Do you not think any other chairman or board of directors isn't aware of the rules coming, and they aren't going to find ways through clever accounting or very expensive lawyers to find a way around this? And I remember this, people saying to me, oh, you're so deep with your agenda with Levy. I said, no, I just don't blow smoke up his arse thinking he's the only smart businessman that exists in football. And what happens? Chelsea come along. We're going to sell our hotels back to us through a third-party company, and that way we've got past the rules. Actually, now we're going to sell our women's team. And then Aston Villa, yeah, we'll sell our women's team as well. That's worth 200 million in a few years' time, so we'll value that at 2 million. This isn't cheating. This is knowing how to play the game. Businesses do this all the time, and people go, they're cheats. No. They're avoiding tax, which is legal. Evasion is illegal. Avoiding is perfectly legal. That's what you pay the big lawyers for. And what the Chelseas and the Villas and all these clubs are doing is they're avoiding the FFP rules. They're not evading it, because if they evade it, there's punishment and fines. They've found a way around it. And I remember saying this would happen. I never specifically said, oh, they'll sell the women's team or they'll sell hotels. I didn't know how they were going to get around it. But the way we blow smoke up Levy's arse, all because he built a fucking new stadium. That's all he's really done. He built a new stadium. Oh, great. Well done. Cheers, mate. Maz, you're on mute. Maz, you're on mute.
Oh, I was going to say Everton will build their new. Well, they've got their new stadium. Man United will build their new stadium. Liverpool will do whatever they need to do, right? And in a decade's time, everyone will start laughing at us because our stadium won't mean jack shit anymore because everyone else has got a bloody new stadium too. You know.
And do you know what? And do you know what that proves? That proves that now's the time to use the benefits of the stadium before everyone else catches up. Now's the time. And what are we doing? Davies tell. Japanese guy. Sorry, I keep calling him Japanese guy, people. I can't remember his name. And the young 16-year-old. So
Kodai, I think Kodai.
Kodai, is it Kodai? I know he's from a club called Kawasaki Frontale. Frontale.
Someone in the chat just put it on there. I think it's Kodai. Kodai, something like
Do
that.
you know what? We need to ask Psycho Teacher if he knows about him because he's half Japanese. Psycho Teacher. He might know a bit more about.
But the problem is with those types of players is you never know. There could be fantastic players in their league. They could have all the right stats. They could, they could be really well regarded. But until they hit the Premier League, you just don't know. You just really don't know. And it could turn out to be a brilliant player. We'll be like, bloody hell, that was a good gamble. But again, I go back to what I said before. We don't have the history of doing this. So you have to assume that it's going to be rubbish. Because all the other hundreds of billions of players we bought before were rubbish. And gone are the days where we bought the Modric's for 16 million or the Berbatovs and they turned out to be brilliant. We haven't done that. When was the last time we done that? I mean, is VDV the last one? Maybe. And let's be honest, he's had 2 seasons with us, and
He was 30 million.
Has been injured.
35 million. Yeah.
It's.
I think. Do you know what it is?
I
The fact
feel so pissed off with this situation that we're in. I was really hoping that we're going to go into this season with an air of optimism, And one guy in there said, "Oh, did I just say that Andrew's built the worst squad, but buying 3 players will fix things?" I said, "It won't fix things, but at least it points to a path forward, a direction of travel going forward." Now we won the Europa, but what is our direction of travel? Certainly not what came out of Daniel Levy's mouth in terms of winning the Champions League and the Premier League. I mean, let's say that he says we're going to win the Premier League. Okay, we're not expecting it obviously this season. How long, Daniel? Is it 3 years or is it a 5-year project to win the Premier League? If so, let's say it's 5 years. You're going to need to buy at least one world-class player or generational player in the Premier League every single season. But he's not doing that. So what's he going to do? Buy them all at the tail end of the 5-year campaign to win the Premier League? No. When clubs gear up to start winning trophies, a bit like Chelsea, they bought good players every single season. We're not doing that. We're not doing that full stop.
Matt, and here's the thing. I don't know if people are watching the Club World Cup. What Manchester City has brought and Liverpool, but more Manchester City because they're playing the competition. Younger Turkey.
Look at Turkey.
You
look at Turkey.
You look at the talent they're bringing in, and then imagine now what Liverpool has just brought in, and you look at what these teams are doing. Yo, we're about 5 years behind. Like we expected these they're buying young players too, who are shining right now. So like it's like.
Mari, I'm telling you, Ange got sacked. It's so evident to me. He's been sacked because he now wanted better quality players. He now wanted that next level of player. And the board were, no, you work with what you got. We've got our policy. We're not budging. And that's what's led to Ange being sacked. Believe you me, I can tell because I'm looking at the signings now. It goes against what is needed for the next level. And Frank's been brought in because, one, Frank thinks he's going to be different. And two, the board, this is what they do every time they have any...
Every manager thinks there's a solution, though, don't they? That's
they all do. They all do. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Frank was coming, right? And let's say he gets us top 4, which will be successful for him, obviously, in the club, because we qualify again for the Champions League. But if he even replicates,
he'll crash out of the cups if he does that, man. Yeah. He'll crash out the cups.
But let's say he replicates Poch's tenure. Let's say literally
semi-final of a cup and top 4,
right? He'll hit the same brick wall as those managers will, because we're just not buying the level of player required for us.
I think it's harder now, man.
And compete.
Maz, I think it's harder now. But back then, Poch had to compete with Leicester for a title and then Chelsea because Man United were in transition. Arsenal were a mess. Man City weren't what they are now. Liverpool were in the rebuild with Klopp. Now, Liverpool are mustard. Man City, we know they're going to bounce back. Arsenal are much better than what they were before. Chelsea,
I agree.
Newcastle, they go.
I agree.
So I think now I think it's almost impossible to repeat what Poch did. And bear in mind, Poch had prime Delhi, prime Ericsson.
I know, I agree. I know. I'm just saying, let's say he did do it by a miracle.
He'd be the best manager we've ever had with this if he could do it with this lot.
Oh yeah, but he won't. So
do you know, Stel, do you know what it is, right? If you're talking about like these other clubs and stuff. I mean, I'm not someone that really likes to compare too much, especially with English clubs, because I don't like a lot of them. But regardless, though, the fact that we're looking, or maybe not we, but the Levy and the board can look at kind of, because football's evolving, right? The game's evolving, like teams are paying massive transfer fees, massive wages, kind of like you're seeing like the transfer record get broken every year. I mean, Verts just went for like, what, 120 million? Like the UK record was only broken last year with Caicedo, I think it was, and then it was broken again this year with Verts. I mean, football's evolving rapidly. And the fact that our board can sit there, watch it happen, and not react to it, not kind of just dig their heels in and kind of double down on the way they kind of operate. It says that they, first of all, they don't know anything about football. They don't have the knowledge or the people around them to understand what's happening, but also it proves to everyone that there's no interest in it. Like there's no interest. Like we've like the reports coming out about us being broke and all of this. It's from what I've heard and stuff. Like there's some people are saying that that's because they've used the money to fund the hotels and the real estate projects, and they've sacrificed the player recruitment.
You know what, Charlie? I don't care the reasons why. I'm always.
You might be right, Charlie. We don't know, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not saying
you might be right.
I'm just saying I just don't care anymore what they've done with the money. Are we going to buy the players? Yes or no? We're not. So, what they've done with the money, who gives a toss now? You know, I'll leave with this because I want to go to bed. Right? How long until Frank breaks?
I think once the fans begin to put the pressure on that, they're not happy with just top six, which is going to be very
1
quick.
month, 2 months, 6 months. When did Ange break? It took Ange what, about 6 after we was it against Man City, wasn't it, when he first really broke
that's when he flipped.
Yeah. So I reckon give Frank maybe he will last until the second season. Then
year two, that's what I'm about to say. Year two. I think year one, he'll
be here next season. He'll be here next season.
Year one is gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna make these players better and turn whatsoever. Then year two, he's gonna find out as much as he made these players, some of these shit players better, and some youth may pan out. Really, Bergvall and Mikey Moore. He's gonna see it's just not enough to overtake the teams that we just named: City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Newcastle. Maybe by the second season, okay, we're on par with Villa whatsoever. But then that's not good enough. That's not good enough. And so the second season will be,
Look, the expectation at Spurs is different to a lot of other clubs. That the managers that we've traditionally had, the expectation was high here for Poch, it was higher here for Ange, it was higher here for Nuno, it was higher here for Redknapp, for AVB. It wasn't as high here for Jose and Conte. But this is the pattern I see. I see a lot of patterns, but regarding the manager lasting at this club, as soon as Poch started moaning that he's not getting that next level of player in, he was out. As soon as Mourinho started throwing players under a bus and saying they're not good enough, we need better, he was out. As soon as Conte put that statement out, we need to spend 60, 70 million pounds on players 2 or 3 times a year and over the long run build a team of, he was out. As soon as Ange made that comment, we need some experienced players, he was gone. So for me, when you hear some kind of link to something Frank says to needing better quality players, Frank's days are numbered. When that moment,
still,
like every other manager,
every when I'm going to link it back to
Board
real
like,
life.
we got to
Yeah.
spend money on
Well,
salaries.
I'm going to link
That's
it. I'm gonna
that's
link
the
it to real
depressing
life,
part. That's the worst
right?
part.
When you work for a company, regardless of the department, and things are not going exactly how you want the department to go, or your KPIs are down, or whatever it is, and you go to your manager or the director or whatever, and you say, we need to hire more people, or the people we're hiring aren't of the quality, we need to up the salary cap, right? If the company doesn't do it, how long do you think those people last? They don't. They end up leaving, don't they? Or they end up being sacked, right? Or they end up getting made redundant because, the department's failing, so they restructure. And it's the same thing at Spurs, isn't it? Every time a manager goes to the board and says, we need to either spend more money, up the wages, change the recruitment policy, you're right.
Yeah.
They're done because the board never want to do it, because that breaks their financial model. If you remember what Levy says, the financial model of the club,
Self-sustainable model.
Well, that's why we complained. We complained about kind of scouts and direct like Lange and whoever it is, right? But Levy only employs people when they agree with what he says, not because they're good at their jobs. If they're going to do what he says, he'll employ them. Forget kind of being qualified for the job in football.
Except for Conte, because he was forced into that by Paratici. But you're right though, Charlie.
I'm talking not so much managers. I'm talking more about directors, apart from Paratici, because Paratici was, I think, beneficial to us. But kind of others, Lange and kind of like, who's it, McKenzie and these guys. I don't know who these guys are.
Mate, it's always that same corporate-y, businessy, suited and booted type. You never feel like we're bringing in football people, like real football
Charlie,
operators.
I really
even Vinay. Look at Vinay. He just stinks of marketing.
Yeah, but no, look, I really want to knock this Paratici thing like out of touch, and maybe we'll talk about it in the next show, right? But why is he good? Like for the club, why? What has he done? The only football director that we had that was actually good, and what he did was provably good, was Mitchell. It's the only one. It's the only one that's worked.
With the Paratici stuff, I'm not saying he's amazing. Like I think he signed some.
What amazing players did Paratici bring in that have transformed the club? Is it Romero? Is he the only one?
Yeah, Romero. I think that.
Look at all the players Mitchell brought in for the Poch squad.
I agree. I would rather have
Mitchell brought in Son, Wanyama, Alderweireld, Dele Alli.
What I'm saying is Paratici. The reason why I like him is maybe not so much what he did at Spurs. If you look at what he did at Juve, kind of he was leading the charge for kind of their kind of dominance, winning all the titles and stuff. I'm not saying.
Why isn't he bending Levy?
Charlie, was it you? Was it him or was it Moreno who he worked under?
Yeah, I mean
Moretta. Yeah, no, it was both. Sorry. It was both of them.
Because I heard when Moretta left and Paratici took over, Juve went to shit.
Right? Look, why?
I think Paratici's better than what we've been used to.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Look,
yeah,
I'm always in favour.
Yeah,
one thing I like about the Frank appointment is Frank has brought in a load of coaches that are football people, right? Football people that have done well in the Premier League.
The black guy is good.
Right? Like, and I like that.
Has Frank brought in his own coaches, by the way? Because I don't know.
He has,
Yeah. He brought
good.
The black guy.
That's good. That's good then.
Yeah, that's really good, right? And I agree with having Paratici there if we've got a choice, because he's a football person, regardless of what we think. But if I was Paratici, I'll be saying if I was Paratici again, Daniel, I fucking managed Juventus. Listen to me, mate. Right? These are the players we need to bring in. We need to bring in quality players.
Do you want to know how a big club does it?
That's what I mean. That's why it's better to have him there than not have him there. Like,
yeah. Anyway, right. Good night, guys. Good to see you.
Big up, Maz.
Listen, we're gonna wrap it up anyway. Big up, Maz. People, boys and girls, thanks for watching as always. I was only wanted to come on for half an hour to just let everyone know that this moaning of Levy is the biggest flip-flop show I've ever seen. Go to the protest or shut up. But Yeah, look, Charlie, when are you next on? When's your next show? Where can we find you, bro?
Yeah, no filter TV here. There might be a few changes coming to the channel, so stay tuned to that. I'm gonna kind of mix a few things up. Next show, not too sure at the moment. I mean, like we talked about on the show the other day, Stel, it's not a lot going on right now. So it's kind of a bit slow at the moment. But yeah, like I said, there's might be a few changes, guys. So if you're subscribed, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, thanks for having me on, Stel, Mari. Good show. I did say, for those that haven't seen in one of my videos, when I did a video after the final, I said that enjoy it, just take every moment of it, because now we're kind of talking about this situation. That's kind of why I said just enjoy the trophy, make the most of it, because of stuff like we're talking about tonight.
Back to Levy world, right?
Yeah, so that's just a message to everyone, right? Just if you want, go and watch the game back, like I did the other day. Go and watch the videos and everything. Just try and
fast forward.
make the most of it. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, try and make the most of it, because that's kind of what we got. So
big up to Charlie as always. No Filter FC, links down below. I've also put it in the chat. Mari, when you got a show coming soon or next week maybe?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I know I'll be there on Monday. Not much to talk about, but I'm gonna, since Arsenal's making some moves, try to solidify next Thursday show with a show with the Arsenal guys and your cousin. And so next week,
is my cousin coming back on?
Yeah. He said let him know when there's the.
Make sure you book him in, because I know he's off to Greece to plan his wedding. So make sure he books in.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
It was really awesome to have him on the show. It's so weird because it's like it's still with hair. You know, people in the chat were like,
and he's got the exact same name as me, first name and surname, exact same name.
That was interesting.
There's 3 people in my family with the exact same name. I don't get it. Greeks are so unoriginal. I mean, anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. As always, if you're Levy out, go to the protest. Otherwise, stop your pointless rants. Put up or shut up. Big up to Chopper Cheese, the 2 Mark show, Dropkick Your Teacher, Chopper Cheese again, Della Spurs. Big up to Daniel Field and Chopper Cheese once again. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you soon. Catch you later. We'll be back on Monday with the gang talking about whatever might happen between now and then. Otherwise, have a good weekend, people. Enjoy the good weather. Peace.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.